Good day, everyone. I am Shane Angel Saraosos, a second-year BSEM engineering student, and I, with my group mates, are instructed to discuss classicism and the GRECO-ROMAN tradition. The objectives of this discussion are the following. First, to trace the development of arts appreciation, and aesthetics. Second, to summarize the history of art and its different unique qualities through the changes and transitions in between different periods with different ages. Third, to give comprehensive presentation of the different styles of different periods of art according to clothing, architecture, and artwork. And fourth, to familiarize different famous artists and their famous and classic artworks. As I was tasked to discuss a subtopic of classicism and the Greco-Roman tradition, which is Roman art, I will also further discuss some important features of Roman art, the Roman domes and their preference to circular architectures. Aside from this, at the end of the discussion, a summary will be given to sum up significant parts tackled. At this point, we're going to talk about Roman art. Let us first define what is Roman art. The Romans are known for their art due to their ability to adapt and combine influences from various cultures, including Greece, Egypt, and the Etruscans. The Romans produced art on a massive scale by copying, mimicking, and inventing. They frequently compromised quality, but occasionally upped workmanship. Rome's custom of imitating classical Greek sculptures contributed to the preservation of a significant creative legacy and allowed the country to create its own distinct style that reflected its long history of culture, politics, and warfare. However, since the admiration of ancient Greek art started in the 17th century, the reputation of Roman art has experienced something of a crisis. Roman art was highly appreciated during the medieval and Renaissance periods, but this began to decline when art experts realized that many of the best Roman works were actually copies of earlier, frequently lost Greek originals, or at least inspired by them. In contrast to Greek art, the Roman Empire's enormous geographic expanse led to wildly differing regional approaches to art. Rome continued to be a center of attention for a long time, but there were also other significant centers of art production that followed their own distinct styles and trends. Most notably is Alexandria, Antioch, and Athens. Because of this, some critics even maintain that Roman art never existed. Even with these arguments, Roman art continued to flourish in various aspects and with outstanding features, which will be discussed further along this discussion. Aside from domes and circular architectures, Rome's key art forms include the following. First are Roman sculptures. Roman sculptures blended the idealized perfection of earlier classical Greek sculpture with a greater aspiration for realism and mixed in the styles prevalent in Eastern art. Roman sculptors have also with their popular copies of earlier Greek masterpieces preserved for posterity, which would have otherwise been completely lost to world art. Some of the famous Roman sculptures are the Sleeping Hermaphrodite, the marble portrait of the Emperor Antoninus Pius, and the statue of Augustus of Prima Porta. Second are the Roman wall paintings. The interiors of Roman buildings of all description were very frequently decorated using bold colors and designs. Wall paintings, fresco, and the use of stucco to create relief effects were all commonly used by the 1st century BCE in public buildings, private homes, temples, tombs, and even military structures across the Roman world. Designs could range from intricate realistic detail to highly impressionistic renderings, which frequently covered all of the available wall space, including the ceiling. Two of the well-known Roman wall paintings are displayed in the slide. The wall paintings found in the Villa of Oplontis and the Villa of Mysteries. Third are Roman mosaics, which were a common feature of private homes and public buildings across the Empire of Africa to Antioch. Mosaics, otherwise known as opus tessellatum, were made with a small black, white, and colored squares of marble, tile, glass, pottery, stone, or shells. The mosaic of Dionysus fighting Indians and the Roman mosaic of a gypsy girl are two of mosaic examples. Now, we're going to tackle Roman domes, which are one of the main features of the Roman art. To define, Roman domes are curved buildings. The dome's architectural possibilities was first fully appreciated by the Romans. Huge covered public spaces like the basilicas were made possible by the Romans' usage of the arc in conjunction with their advancements in the use of concrete and the construction of vaulted ceilings. The dome served as a model for a large portion of Roman architecture, including the Hadrian's Pantheon in Rome. The domes themselves were religious icons in addition to being remarkable pieces of architecture. Domes were frequently constructed to resemble the heavens, and they were adorned and styled accordingly. The apex, which was frequently the highest point of the structure, pointed to the skies, and its round shape symbolized eternity. The dome of St. Peter's Basilica is one of the most well-known and frequently photographed domes in Rome and Vatican City. It is also known as one of the most important Christian sites in the world and is a church rather than a cathedral with a long and illustrious history. St. Peter's Basilica is also known as the Papal Basilica of St. Peter and sits over the site of the tomb of its namesake. The current St. Peter's Basilica began to form in the 15th century and was expanded and added to by various popes and architects over the 16th and 17th centuries, transforming it into the largest church in the world. While much of the building was designed by Bernini, the most celebrated architectural aspect of St. Peter's Basilica is probably its vast dome, which can be seen in the attached picture. Designed by Michelangelo in the mid-16th century, but not finished until after his demise. The dome of St. Peter's rises a magnificent 448 feet in height. Because of Michelangelo's brilliant design, St. Peter's dome would not only be influenced by earlier structures, but also have a lasting impact on several churches in Rome and their domes. Speaking of what inspired Michelangelo to create the St. Peter's Basilica, the Pantheon's dome comes next in the line of well-known domes. The Pantheon is one of the most impressive historical and architectural sites in the center of Rome, Italy. Its dome, with its distinctive central hole, the oculus, is the biggest ever built in masonry. The largest unsupported dome in the world is in the Pantheon that is visible today. Aside from domes, Roman art are known because of their preference to circular architectures. For a number of reasons, the Romans preferred circular architectural designs including arches, vaults, and domes. First off, compared to Greek architecture, their use of circular forms and enormous building sizes gave them a more appealing and fashionable appearance. The intricate and imposing exterior of Roman structures was influenced by its round-shaped and high ceilings, which distinguished them from the more confined architecture of Greek builders. Furthermore, the Romans' invention of concrete and their master of the arch, vault, and dome enabled them to build colossal structures that exemplified Rome's majesty and strength. One example of Rome's circular architecture is the Temple of Hercules Victor, the oldest building in Rome, seen in the slide. The circular shape adds to the rich and fashionable appearance of Roman structures and is associated with modern engineering and the eternal and powerful symbols it represents. As mentioned before, Roman preferred circular architectural designs such as domes, which was discussed before this, and arches, which possess a significant meaning for Romans. They called them triumphal arches because that's what was awarded after a triumphant general or emperor returned victorious from a battle. An example of the triumphal arches made by the Romans is the Arch of Septimius Severus. Aside from this example, I'm about to show you more of what they call Rome's preferred circular architectures. First in the long list is the Arch of Constantine, which is one of the most famous examples of triumphal arches in Rome. Situated just outside the Colosseum, It's located along the old route to the Roman Forum, aka Via Triumphalis, the route that victorious generals and emperors would take as they made their way to the Capitoline Hill. The arch was constructed in 315 AD and was ordered by the Roman Senate to commemorate Constantine's victory over his rival Maxentius at the Battle of Milvian Bridge in 312 AD. Standing 21 meters high, this is Rome's largest triumphal arch and boasts 3 portals, one large in the center and 2 smaller ones, as seen in the attached image. Another circular architecture is the Colosseum, which is an amphitheater in the Rome and one of the most well-known Roman architecture. It was built during the reign of the Flavian Emperor as a gift to the Roman people. When the Colosseum first opened, the Emperor Titus celebrated with 100 days of gladiatorial games. Emperors traditionally attended the games. The Emperor Commodus is known to have performed the arena on hundreds of occasions. Aside from the games, the Colosseum also hosted dramas, reenactments, and even public executions. Eventually, the Romans' interest in the games waned. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, the Colosseum began to deteriorate. The attached image in the slide is the Colosseum before it looked like what it looks today. As I have mentioned that the image in the previous slide is how the Colosseum looked in the past, the Colosseum looked far different today. It has since a series of earthquakes during the 5th century CE damaged the structure, and it also suffered from neglect. By the 20th century, nearly 2/3 of the original building had been destroyed. Nevertheless, a restoration project began in the 1990s to repair the Colosseum. Today, it is one of the modern-day Rome's most popular tourist attractions, hosting millions of visitors a year. As we have reached the end of the discussion, here are some takeaways from the presentation. The Romans are known for their art due to their ability to adapt and combine influences from various cultures, including Greece, Egypt, and the Etruscans. Also, realistic portraiture, an eclectic aesthetic, practical application, and the encouragement of artistic movements from all over the empire are the hallmarks of Roman art. The Romans produced art on a massive scale by copying, mimicking, and inventing. Roman domes are curved buildings, and domes' architectural possibilities were first fully appreciated by the Romans. Domes were frequently constructed to resemble the heavens, and they were adorned and styled accordingly. The apex, which was frequently the highest point of the structure, pointed to the skies, and its round shape symbolized eternity. Some of the most famous domes of Rome are the Pantheon and St. Peter's Basilica. Furthermore, Romans prefer circular architectural designs including arches, vaults, and domes, since it adds to the rich and fashionable appearance of Roman structures and is associated with modern engineering and the eternal and powerful symbols it represents. The Colosseum, the Arch of Constantine, and the Arch of Drusus are 3 of the known circular architectures found in Rome. These are the references used to gather information for this discussion. So that would be all. Thank you for being with me until the end of discussion. Again, this is Shane Angel Saraosos. Thank you and God bless.